What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
Good Saturday morning. It is the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Good to have you guys with us. Hope you guys had a great week. Everybody recovering from the storm last week. Hope everything was good for you. Hope the kids had a good week in school. The family had a good week at work. And now it's time for the weekend. You know what we do on the weekends. We talk some football right here on the Jaguar Journal. Good to have you guys on this morning. I'm Perry White. As always, good morning to everybody on our listening to us on radio on 107.3 around the capital city area. Good morning to everybody out there watching on the Jaguar Journal YouTube channel. Good to have you guys. Hit that subscribe button. The subscribers are steady going up. A lot of people tuned in last week for last week's show, so good to have you guys as well as consistently subscribing. Remember, it is free. I don't need anything from you but your support. And good morning to everybody watching on our Facebook Live. Glad to have you guys with us as we get this show rocking and rolling this morning, Saturday. You know, it's Southern University versus Prairie View today. Some big games around the SWAC. That's one. Both teams trying to get on the right foot. Prairie View trying to avoid an 0-2 start. Southern trying to start 1-0 after losing last week on the road to Jackson State. My man Kevin Baptiste from WAFB is going to come on at 8 o'clock. We're going to break down that game last week and then look forward to the Southern versus Prairie View game today in Prairie View, Texas. I'll be headed over that way once the show is over, jumping on the road, headed to Texas. So that's what kind of day. I have a long day ahead of me trying to get over there and make sure we get an opportunity to see if the Jaguars are going to pull it off. Prairie View, remember, won the West Division last year, played in the SWAC championship against Florida A&M. Right now, currently, they are 1-2 on the season. The good thing about it, I think, that gives Southern fans hope is the fact that Southern has not lost a game in Panther Stadium since they built that stadium, dating back to, what was that first game? 2016. Southern went over and got a big victory over at Prairie View, and they just opened the stadium. It was Southern's first time. As you can recall, the history of these two teams, they've played all over the Houston area, whether it was in NRG Stadium or one of the many huge, big high school football stadiums throughout the city. So, excuse me. This should be an interesting matchup. Two programs, Bubba McDowell, who is leading Prairie View, is looking to see what direction this program is going to go. They just come off a 40-0 L last week on the road. East Lansing taking on Michigan State. And as I said, Southern 33-15 versus Jackson State. I'm still trying to wake up. I hope you guys are waking up. 7:13. I had a game last night, and I'm sure plenty of you guys went out and checked out some high school games, or if not, got on the road. I'm sure we got some listeners this morning headed to Houston. We have some listeners probably already in Houston getting ready. Should be a good tailgate. And I'm curious, and I'm going to have this conversation with you guys on the other side. And please call in today. The show is all you guys. I don't have a host of guest or anything. The show is to the people today. 225-499-1073. Mike, see if you can pin that in on the YouTube chat too. 225-499-1073. You guys call in. Tell me how you feel about the Southern football team thus far. Headed into week 4. Southern's 1-2 so far. Their only victory, a big victory over Savannah State. A tough road loss to McNeese. Even tougher road loss last week to Jackson State. So 225-499-1073. I'm open to call lines up the entire show. Call in, talk to me, tell me how you feel. Is it something that you see? I'll tell you what I see. What do you feel? And it is kind of gotten to a point to where it is growing frustration, I think, amongst the fan base. I know it is early. We're just headed into week 4. Bye week next week before we come back on the other side with Nichols from down in Thibodaux. So we'll figure this thing out. Let's get ready to take a break. And when we come back on the other side, I'm going to talk to you about the Jaguar Nation. Where are we in terms of the Jaguar Nation? Are we starting to lose our energy? Are we starting to lose who we are as the Jaguar Nation? And I want you guys to chime in and tell me how you feel, because that's who I talk to each and every Saturday. You guys that are the Jaguar Nation. So once again, you can call in 225-499-1073. Talk to me about anything today. I'm open about whatever. You can talk to me if you just want to get something off your chest about life. I don't even care today, all right? So I'll be your psychiatrist, your therapist. Whatever you need, that's me today. So let's get ready to take a break. We'll be back more to Jaguar Journal.
Danny Johnson, first and foremost, outstanding young man, great character, great young man. Can't say enough about him. Great father. You always see him, hanging around with his son and spending time with his son and his family. As a player, I can't say enough about him. He has all the athletic ability that you would want in a kid with playing corner, the footwork, speed, all the intangibles.
I have a good work ethic. It's been a lot of times, in the off season, I gotta just push myself to go work out. Even if nobody else was out there, just to get an extra push when we get back into the season. Because I always wanted to have that edge over everybody else. So, it's just that mindset that I have. I want to be one of the best. So, I gotta push myself. If anybody else does. And it's like a lot of stuff that I want to do with my son that I can't do because I'm playing ball. So my biggest return to him is just, having him come to games on Saturday. He can see his father play in front of, thousands of people. It's just, it makes him happy. So whenever he's happy, I'm happy. But just when I get the chance to just go home and, hear everything, he's been doing in school and, what he likes and doesn't like, it just brings me back to that fatherhood of just being around him, and that's what I like to do. I put academics over football because, I can't play football forever. At some point, I'm going to have to rely on that degree. So, that's my biggest thing, and that's one reason why I came to Southern, to get that degree. So I set myself up to where I'll be able to graduate right after the season. So if football doesn't work out for me, I can always come back and go to grad school. So, education is a big thing for me.
Danny Johnson will put Southern University on a national stage. Obviously, everybody knows about Jag Nation and Southern University, but you'll see Danny Johnson playing on Sunday one day, and he'll be able to be an ambassador, for the university.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal. right, we are back. Good morning to everybody. It is the Jaguar Journal. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday morning. Good morning, as always, to all of our listeners around the capital city area. Listen on 107.3 FM. It is a busy morning, a lot going on. LSU with UCLA in town this weekend. Southern on the road going over to Houston, Texas. Prairie View, Texas taking on Prairie View A&M, the Panthers. And so there's a lot of people out and about this morning. So if you are tuned in, good morning to you. Glad that you can hear my voice. Turn it up a little bit louder and enjoy the show as we continue to keep things going. I am Perry White. Good morning to all of our people watching and listening on our YouTube channel as well. If you have not done so, whether you love the show or you don't, just, hey, go hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Maybe you will become a lover of the show. It's the Jaguar Journal on YouTube. Don't need anything. Guess what? I don't need to know your kid's name. I don't need to know how much money you make a year. I just need you to hit that subscribe button and join and be a part of what we have here. And everybody watching on our Facebook Live across the various Facebook groups and wherever else. Good to have you guys with us. It is a good Saturday morning. We headed into week 4 of college football. And, as that continues to go, the season, it'll be November before you know it. It seems like it takes forever for football season to get here. And once it get here, it knocks on the door of Thanksgiving. And we're looking around like, dang, where has the entire fall gone? And I tell people all the time, don't schedule nothing on a Saturday for me. A bar mitzvah, a wedding, a baby shower. Don't do none of that. Don't ask me to come birthday party. If you're going to do all that, it better be at a tailgate. How about a baby shower at the tailgate? Would that be exciting? Let's do the reveal with the school colors at the tailgate, because that's the only way you're going to get me there. Other than that, I'm not going to be able to make it because I got obligations. And we all know in the South, especially in South Louisiana, football and tailgating is a holy obligation on Saturday. Of course, you have what you're going to do on Sunday, but on Saturdays, it's dedicated to football, and I make sure that I keep myself occupied and busy with football on Saturdays. 225-499-1073 is the number. Guys, call in, talk to me about how you feel about the Southern team thus far heading into this game against Prairie View at 1-2. Talk to me in terms of I like to say, a lack of enthusiasm by the Jaguar Nation. Normally, that game up in Jackson, Mississippi versus Jackson State, you see about 45, 50, a little over 50,000 people. This year's attendance of just a little over 30,000. It did not seem the Jaguar Nation was excited. I know there was a hurricane that hit. I know there was some things that occurred, but still just did not show up like I thought. We got somebody on the line? All right. Good morning, Chuck. How you doing?
Good morning to you all down there. I hope all is well. I'm doing fine up here in Northeast Louisiana, in Monroe. Yeah, I was just calling. I got a chance to watch the game. I went through watching a lot of games. I was watching Florida Memorial playing. They played Clark Atlanta. That was a great ball game until the weather cancellation down in Miami. 28-28. That's what they did, and they stopped the game, and it was 28-28. And I was just watching games. I watched your guys and watched Grambling and Texas A&M Commerce, and I was looking at and like I told you, Brother White, this happening. It goes like at Grambling. Eddie Robinson, all that day is over with, just like at Southern. You're not going to have that Mumford and Richardson. Richardson day is over. He said he's not going to be walking through the door. He's going to be walking through the door, but he's been walking through for a different reason. He's going to be doing the radio broadcast up in the press box, he and Chris Powers. But like I said, it's a new day and time, and like I've always said time and time again, the college athletics landscape is changing. This is what you're dealing with now. And also, while I have you on the phone, I wish your sister, your extended sister, the best on her future endeavors. Brandy Harris, I see she did her last broadcast with WBRZ.
Oh yeah, she's headed to new and bigger heights. So congratulations to her as well.
Oh yes, and I'm gonna land on this one. Yeah, just look at what's going on. Now we're in this landscape now that we used to give coaches like 3 years before you get it together. That's not the case anymore. They might give them a year, or they might say 2 years. That's the way it goes now. It's the type thing that's going on now.
Man, listen, it is instant gratification these days. People want, it's like the commercial. It's my money and I want it now.
Yeah, that's exactly exactly, just like that commercial. And by the way, Brother White, I know you all playing Prairie View. You should have gotten my homeboy and Prairie View alumnus. I remember him back here in Monroe when he was playing high school ball. He was a great ball player, Lionel Mosby Jr. Should have see if you had gotten him on this morning. That's been a great one. You all can go back and forth to each other.
I be trying to keep it. I don't like to really. I keep it going back and forth when I do the internet shows. I try not to do it so much on because we're so consolidated with time. At least with the internet, we can just go without stopping it. So that's why I kind of, I don't really too much bring that internet side to the radio. The radio is a little bit different place. All right, Chuck. Thank you, man, for the call.
All right, you all take care and have fun and be safe if you're going out to any ball games.
All right, let's keep things rolling, man. Listen, I got a question for you guys out there listening because I had this conversation at 225-499-1073 is the number. The way that I look at what's happening right now with Southern University in football, and I mean, I did a show about athletics as a whole. Guess what? It was one of the least listened to shows that we have done. And I don't know if people just didn't want to hear it. If, Perry, I don't know, you being anytime I say anything, it's like, Perry, you're being negative. How? This is sports. In the world of sports, I watch it. I see wins. I see losses. I go to these games. I even had a coach last week, a former coach at Jackson State. The coach didn't coach at Jackson State, but it was a former coach while I was leaving the game. And somebody asked me, what did I think about the game? And before I could even open my mouth, they said, don't say anything. You're going to be negative. And I'm like, how am I going to be negative? I'm just going to tell you what I saw. Now, if what I saw, clearly it triggered that person because they felt some type of way as well, to the point that if it was a win and somebody asked me what I saw, it wouldn't have been no problem to speak in terms of how that victory occurred. But in the loss, you have to speak about that as well. In terms of that loss, I like to think, my college professors used to tell me constructive criticism, right? It's okay to be constructively criticized. That's what happens in the world of athletics, in the world of sports. You are in the public eye. And when I did that show about athletics in terms of competing for championships, right? I talked about Southern last year in review for the championships that they competed for. You want to know who competed for a championship? Southern last year competed for only one championship across the entire athletic department. It was women's bowling. That was the only athletic team to compete for a championship. You want to know the next closest? Women's soccer, who lost in the semifinals of the SWAC tournament. That's it. I had those conversations. I had that real conversation about where are we headed in terms of athletics. And because I asked that question, I wanted to know from fans, how do you feel about athletics currently? Where does your feel for it? Is it something that you want to continue to invest? Because I look back last year, and let's just take football, Eric Dooley. I know the name is, he's gone. He's at Grambling. But his decision-making and the way that he talked to the people through the media last year really did a number on our fan base. And as the season progressed, you started to see the fan base really look at it and say, you know what? And I tell people all the time, it's two things that fans look at when it comes to supporting. It's their time and it's their money. If it's something that they love and you giving a product, they have no issues with giving you their time and their money. But listen, people will find something else to do with their time and to spend their money on if it's something, the product that they don't like. And I started to see that last year ooze over into the football side of things with Coach Dooley, which I think ultimately you saw the reason of why he was let go. The fan base was not excited. What you got out of him and the way that he described things and the play calling, the lack of using the roster, all of those culminated into people saying, you know what, I spend my time and my money elsewhere. And because of that, it has now trickled over. And that's why when people listen, I said it during week 1 that Southern versus McNeese State was a must win. You know why? It was an opportunity for a rebirth for this football program, because if you were in Lake Charles at McNeese, you saw the Jaguar Nation show up. They said, you know what? I got one more in me. We'll start the season. I got one in me. And because of that one, we showed up and we packed the place out. Now, Southern for 3 quarters up 7-0 put Southern fans in a position to say, you know what? This may be the chance. And you know what? If we can win this, Graves, Southern, I'm rocking with you. Whether we won or lost, I think what turned fans off was the way that we lost. It was ugly in the end when we fell apart. The botched field goal, the snap over the punter's head, you give them 14 points, and then they seal the deal with a short run by Clifton McDowell for a touchdown to put 21-7. It was the way that we lost. And I'm in the stands, and I'm listening to people without saying anything as people walk by me, and I'm listening to what they're saying. That was the frustration. That was kind of like the dagger of here we go again. Let's get ready to take a break, and when we come back on the other side, I got 2 callers waiting to get on. So you guys hold on. If you're calling anybody else, 225-499-1073, the number. You can call in and talk to me today. It's the People's Show today. I'm just Perry. I'm just steering the vessel. Me and Mike. Mike, my navigator. I'm the pilot. You guys come on in and talk to us. Let's take a break. It's the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket, and his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
pass.
It's
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing. Nice catch made.
Receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out a foul.
Touchdown.
Backfield. Plenty of time for Levy across the middle. Has his man at the 15. You know, I don't know if you want to break the spirit of Terrence Levy or not. Here he wings one wide open down the middle, and a one-handed grab made.
The way. 3rd down in 4. And here's Lewis off the catch. Lewis still on his feet, and Lewis is streaking down the sideline. Touchdown. So they move back 5 yards. Levy on 3rd down, looking down the sideline. Yes, sir! Big-time player.
Guys, stepping up.
All right, good morning to everybody. It's the Jaguar Journal. Glad to have you guys with us. I am Perry White. As always, good morning to all of our listeners around the capital city area, listening on 107.3 FM, all our YouTube listeners. Good morning to you guys. Hit that subscribe button. as well as everybody listening on our Facebook Live, having an interesting conversation this morning. 225-499-1073 is the number if you want to get in. And as I'm talking about the Jaguar Nation and as I'm talking about athletics, one thing that is special about Southern University and its fan base in the Jaguar Nation, in which it has earned that name, is fans like to travel. And you know why they like to travel? Southern had a arrogance. Well, should I say arrogance? Yes, we are an arrogant fan base. You know why? Because championships came along with it. The SWAC stands for the SWAC, right? Southwestern Athletic Conference. Southern had a period of time of dominance within the SWAC to the point somebody said, you know what? It stands for Southern wins another championship. That's what the fan base wanted, no matter what the sport was. Football, of course, is the moneymaker. Now, when I look at where we at in football, Dawson Odoms has since moved on. He's a thing of the past to a lot of Jaguars now. He's at Norfolk State. We've gone through Jason Rollins, Eric Dooley, now Terrence Graves. This kind of reminds me of a situation that happened with the people we don't like up in Mississippi, Jackson. Remember Rick Comegee? Comegee and Odoms look like they kind of had something in common. Comegee went and won the championship in 2007 for Jackson State. Remember in 2012 in Birmingham, the last SWAC football championship game played in Birmingham, they lost to UAPB. Eric Dooley also was the offensive coordinator of that team. Then the next year, Comegee loses to Southern in Houston in 2013. They move on from Comegee. Then they go and try to find the people of the past to rekindle the past, going through coach after coach after coach. And it sent Jackson State down this road of nowhere from 2014 until Coach Deion Sanders came in 2021. And I have continuously said the reason what makes Jackson State and Southern who they are as rivals and as teams that the rest of the conference does not like, it is the championship arrogant talk along with the swagger. There's a certain swagger about fan bases, teams, bands that when you show up, the opposing school, whether you at their place or they come to you, they feel it from you. It is swag. And when you see swag and you around it, it's just something that you cannot ignore. Jackson State went through that for a while of trying to find it back, and Deion was the perfect fit for them to bring that swagger back. Southern right now seems to have lost its swagger. That swagger does not seem to be there, and we seem to be headed in that same direction of no man's land right now until we finally find somebody to get that swagger back, to get fans back excited, and to get that average person who lives in Baton Rouge and say Southern has a game this weekend. You know what? You remember what I said, my time and my money. I'm going to spend my time to go over to the game and my money to buy a ticket. That's what swagger does when it reignites the fan base and get people back excited. Let's go to the phone lines. We got Rob on the line. Good morning, Rob.
Perry, good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself? Glad to have you calling in.
I'm doing well, man. Listen here, I'm not a Southern alumni or a PV alum, but I am in Dallas, so I'm going to go down to the game today just so I can support SWAC. But you're absolutely right. You got to keep telling the truth. A lot of times people don't want to hear the truth. They just want to hear, like, oh, it's going to be all right. But like you said, Perry, sometimes it ain't going to be all right. Sometimes you got to make a change. Sometimes you got to do. Sometimes you got to step on some toes, man. But you keep telling the truth, Perry. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And you can't. Everybody ain't gonna like you, man. Everybody ain't gonna want to hear what you hear. But I always tell the truth, man. You'll be all right, and hopefully I'll see you at the game today, man.
Man, thank you, Rob, for calling in all the way from Dallas, man. Appreciate you. That let you know the reach of the show. Thank you, Rob.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go to the next call. We got CJ on the line. CJ, good morning.
Good morning, Perry. Great. See you doing a great job. And look, I have to concur with you 200%, brother. Look, it's always come down to the fact that we're going to get murdered when Nickel State come here in a couple of weeks. I'm just going to tell you that now. I don't care what they do today or the next week or whatever. But when Nickel State come here, you watch how Nickel State football team come here and physically and mentally just beat us down. They're going to put 45 points on us. Okay? But as it relates to Southern, and we got to start looking at the band too, because band going to end up in the same case just like our football and athletic programs are. because there was a lot of crooked lines over there said in the band thing, okay? I ain't cutting them no slack neither. But it was great. But with the football program, sir, we got a good game plan going in, but we don't have a good game plan to when those things change, what we do to change with it. That's why we get bombarded. That's why we get losses that we should have wins. You know, I went to Coach Banks to say, look, man, what is it I can do to help? I was giving Southern $30,000 a year in donations. The man turned around and told me he won't do me nothing. I asked him for $100 just to be sarcastic. He didn't even want to give me $100. This show been paying for itself for the last 26 years with no sponsors. So what they do, they go start a show on their own at the same time the Jaguar Journal comes on. And they're supposed to come in talking about putting things together. You got a lot of things up there that's not together right now. And it's showing. We're just going to have to start looking at changing some things, Perry. I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate you got the manhood to get up there and say what you need to say. But you're telling the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. But just look at the product.
Yeah.
That's all I say. Look at the product. Thanks a lot, Perry. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, CJ.
All right.
All right, we got another caller. Hey, anybody else, 225-499-1073. I'm Perry White. I'm your therapist today. Call in, talk to me. I'll talk back. Let's go to the caller. Who we got? Eddie? All right, good morning, Eddie. Is he there? Eddie, can you hear me? Let's see if we can get him, Mike. Well, Eddie, call back if I don't know what happened. 225-499-1073 is the number. 225-499-1073 is the number. As I'm having this conversation, this is a conversation I want to have with you guys because, look, I have talks with people who close to me. And I know I hear people say, well, why do we talk about what we talk about out in the public for everybody? Hey, guess what? Somebody got to hear it. Because as I'm looking around, and I cannot help the fact but to see it, I have seen us excited. I have seen us just kind of in the middle. And now I have seen us like we're trying to rise from the ash. The swag does not seem to be there. The excitement of the fan base, and I mean, it just does not seem to be there. Today will be a telltale sign for me at Prairie View because I've seen how we typically show up. Is that Eddie? All right, Eddie, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, Perry?
I'm doing good, man.
Hey, I'm a long time alumnus and fan, and I'm starting to think, I agree with you. I think at this point, we about to become like the Dallas Cowboy fans.
Oh, my God. Why?
The arrogance, and then hanging on the past. That's what it's starting to sound like. And I'm starting to see that. It's just we not doing anything to go forward, but we still keep talking about championships that happened in the 90s and the early 2000s. It's 2020, 24. We need to stay we not go in the present, go forward. We're not even doing that. But we just keep hanging on, stuff that we did in the past, and that's over.
Yeah, that statement right there, I think puts it into context, especially Dallas Cowboy fans. The 90s were awesome. Great. Still, to this day, can't let it go. Definitely sounds like Southern University. Still to this day, cannot let the 90s. You put it like that on me, Eddie.
Hey, man, I'm a New Orleans Saints fan, and how we beat down the Dallas Cowboys last week. That's you've seen how New Orleans reacted, so when people beat us, how they react.
Yeah, you are totally right, and it has come to a. Let me ask you this, because you say you live in New Orleans, and
no. I'm from Kenner, but I live in Tampa. I live in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Oh,
I listen every week, bro.
Well, I'm glad to have you all the way. We got Dallas this morning. We got Tampa. Let me ask you this: as an alum and a fan of Southern University, where are you currently when you look at, and I got to ask you, in terms of looking at our program, football, and looking at the direction of our athletic department, you as a fan and an alum of Southern University?
It's kind of hard for me to kind of see some of a lot of the stuff going on because, again, it being SWAC and we're not really, some of the stuff is not accessible to what, as far as in what we can see and what we hear and stuff like that. So I get bits and pieces. So I kind of go by what people say about the AD and, about the president and stuff like that. I have to go by what other people say that's locally. So I can't really make a sound decision, but I don't hear good things, so I know that much. But I just know that I got to hear it from Rattlers all the time during football season.
That's the hard part about it. That's what I said about us as a fan base. There was a swag about us that as a fan base, when we showed up, there was a reason we showed up in the large numbers that we did, because we knew regardless of who we was playing, they were going to get up for us, but you better believe they better be ready to get up, because a program ready to compete for championships was going to show up at any given time, no matter the sport. And now across the board, that does not seem to be the feel anymore. And so I tell people all the time on another show that I do, there was a time where I would say Alcorn is the only team, and let's just use football in particular, where if I was typically quiet, just the reality of the world, I didn't say much to Alcorn fans, but I knew for sure Prairie View better not say nothing to me. None of the Alabama schools better not say nothing to me. From 13 to 21, Jackson State better not say nothing to me. And everybody else now, everybody is looking at us. We're like the open wound, and when you see the target, the prey that finally has the wound, you go attack it. That's where we at now. Everybody seems to say this not the big bad. When the lion used to be the head of the pride. Then when he gets older and you see, he has weaknesses, he's not the same. They go after him because now you got the next one want to come up and be the king. That's what it seems like with Southern right now. We don't have that fight back. We just kind of been getting beat up and wounded, and everybody's now seem like they want to take an advantage of us, and that takes a toll on the fan base.
I'll say one last thing, and I'll put it in a funny perspective. I kind of put us right now as Prince and Morris Day and the Time are walking in the movie Purple Rain, and they're walking past that room, and they look back and be like, "How's the family?"
And laughed at him.
Yes.
That hurts.
I'm telling you, brother. Look, I'm telling you. That's why I say they are looking at us like the Dallas Cowboys fan base, and just like Morris Day and the Time looked at Prince.
I know the exact scene. That was mean. That was really mean.
Hey.
Man,
but y'all have a good day, man.
Man, thank you, Eddie, for listening, man. All the way in Tampa, man. I love Tampa, one of my favorite places to go vacate. Clearwater Beach. I love it over there, man. Thank you for tuning in this morning.
For sure.
We got Dallas, Texas. We got Tampa. Everybody else listening around. Let's get ready to take a break. We come back on the other side. 225-499-1073 is the number if you want to call in. Hey, I'm not being negative if you're listening. I don't care who listens. I'm just having conversation. And if you got something to say, call in. If you think I'm being negative, call in and say, Perry, you being negative. I'm open to all conversations. If you say, hey, Perry, I think you telling the truth, then if you think I'm telling the truth, for the ones who think I'm being negative, don't listen to respond, listen to understand, and understand that I'm not making this up out of thin air. There's something going on. And if we don't study it right now to figure out what's going on, it'll be too late to make a reaction. It'll be already over with. We're trying to put something in place to where, are we understanding what's happening right now? And I'm trying to do it early before things seem to get out of place, but I want to bring it to your attention. And I don't care who's listening. I ain't saying nothing wrong. I'm not targeting nobody, but I'm just telling you what the facts are. We didn't win a championship in nothing. Our fan base is dwindling. Was you at the Savannah State game? Did you see the Jackson State game? We headed to Prairie View today. Houston, I'm banking on you today with that being one of our largest alumni bases. Houston, I'm banking on you. Show up, support us. I'll be there. One thing about no matter what I say, I'm at a game. I'm a loyal supporter. I give my time and my money to Southern. I have a value that I believe in giving Southern. And a lot of times what I give Southern is volunteer. That's time and money together. You can't take that back. But for the ones who do spend their time and their money, I just want to know how you feel, because I'm looking around and it's looking like when it comes to your time and money, you finding something else to do with it. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Why is it? Is it what's happening at Southern? Is it the results? Because when I speak on the results, hey, I'll do wins and losses, and I'm pretty sure that's what you guys are looking at as well. I just don't feel the swagger. I don't feel the excitement. I don't feel what it once was. I'm feeling like this is kind of mediocre. That's what I'm feeling. How are you feeling? 225-499-1073. Mike, let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back, close out the top of the hour. Before I go into the 8 o'clock hour, my man Kevin Baptiste from WAFB will join me at 8 o'clock. But right now, we're going to take a break. I'll be right back. Stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White. And what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well. Over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth-quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast, and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss. And a nice catch. Ricks on the 1st and 10. Little draw play. Takes it outside. He's got the 1st down.
But Ricks going to take it up the middle.
All right, it's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Good morning to our listeners. I show love to the people who show love back to us, and that's the people who tune in. Good morning to everybody around the capital city area on Talk 107.3. I know a lot of people moving around this morning. UCLA is in town taking on LSU in that big matchup. So good morning to you guys that listen, because we get a lot of Tiger fans that actually listen to the show because they keep up with what's going on with Southern University. I get it all the time from people that I'm around and say, hey, man, I listen to you on Saturday mornings. I may not be a Southern fan per se, but I listen because that show keeps me up to date with what's going on. So good morning to them for listening here on 107.3 around the capital city area. Glad to have you guys tuned in as you getting your morning started. And to everybody else that are listening. We got a caller this morning from Dallas, Texas, Tampa, Florida. So it's showing you the range of where this show is. And the reason because of that is because of our YouTube channel. So good morning to everybody watching and listening on our YouTube channel. Glad to have you guys. Go hit that subscribe button. Glad to have you guys and everybody on our Facebook page. Glad to have you as well. That is the reason why we have incorporated those different areas, because there are people all around the country who love to find out and keep up with Southern University. And guess what? As Perry White, I got you guys. I keep you informed of what's going on. Who we got on the line? Jay, good morning. Jay?
Hello?
Jay, good morning. How you doing, man?
All right. What's up, Perry?
Not much. Talk to me.
Yeah, I was calling about that last week with that Jackson State game.
Talk to me.
Like, after that performance from the offensive line, do you think will you think they have new faces starting to get today, or will it be the same ones?
Well, thank you, Jay, for the call. Talking to Coach this week, the way I want to put this, at his weekly press conference, he said, and Jim Kleinpeter asked the question, will you begin to rotate guys? He said, looking at the experience of this O-line, the lack of experience, he said, man, these guys are new. They have to come together. They have to gel. He said that you may start to see some new faces in terms of the rotation. Now, coaches, when it comes to coaching talk, what that means. I'm not trying to let the other team know what I'm doing. But I think at this point you have to see you bring in 20 guys on the O-line. You have to go through and see what you can find. What kind of recipe of success can you find in terms of consistency? Because of what I saw with Jackson's D-line last week, blasting through our O-line. Southern did not get 30 yards of rushing. When was I got to ask Jim, break open the record books and find when was the last time Southern did not get 30 yards rushing? Who else we got on the call before we get ready to go to the top of the hour? Colt, good morning, Colt.
Now, how you doing, Mr. Perry White?
I'm doing good, man. Good to have you on this morning. I got about 3 minutes with you.
All right. Well, I agree 100% with you. Of course, a lot of the subscribers to your channel, they subscribe to my channel also, like, Willie Bolden, Edwin Moore, Kevin Walker, Blackwater Bayou, Belgian Leathers. And for the most part, like, all the subscribers in terms of the comments, like, on my videos, my live streams, like, everything around the fan base is down in terms of, because I've been going to Southern University game for over 40 years, and just the buzz around the program is not like it was in the 90s, especially like the late 90s. And, anytime, you got, like, other YouTubers in our space, like Doc Holliday on HBC Overdrive, he just talking like Southern is nothing. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's sad when you have more people tailgating in the parking lot than you actually have in the stands at A.W. Mumford Stadium, P. Richardson Field. So I'm going to be truthful. Like, a lot of my subscribers, like, they're at the point now where they just want to see Roman Banks gone. And I think you're just being honest. I mean, the athletic program across the board is just down, to be truthful,
Hey, that's why I want the people to talk. I want to hear from the people, and I'm glad that you was able to give me a call and express that, because people think it's just me getting on here and it's just, I get the side eyes, I get the looks, I get you being negative, ooh, you saying crazy stuff but it ain't about me. It's about the people. Don't be so stuck in the shell or in the bubble to where you forget about the people. Because the people, once again, and thank you for the call, Code. I got to get ready to get to the top of the hour and take a break.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for sure for listening. The people, once again, it's about what they spend their time and their money. Right now, I don't see people spending their money or their time on what we have going on. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. The people are calling in. So I hope the ones that within that bubble or that shell who may say you being negative, give me the side eye. I don't like you. It's okay. I'm not meant to be liked by everybody. But I'll tell you what I do like. I like Southern. I love it. So that's why I do this show. That's why I come on here and I have conversations. That's why I don't have a problem speaking in terms of how I feel. I'm just one person. But there's thousands out there. And for the thing about a lot of those people, they don't want to say anything publicly or say anything aloud because their love for Southern, they feel like it'll be taken in the wrong way, and they don't want anybody to see them in a different type of way. Me, it is what it is. You can't deny it. It ain't like I'm saying and I won't be at the game. I'm at the game. And because I do it this one show, every Saturday other than this, I'm promoting the hell out of Southern University. If you listen to this show consistently, all I do is give Southern its praise. I bring people on here. I reach out to many people to come on this show. Do everybody accept it? No, they don't. But for the ones that do, I hold them to the hard conversation. Even our political leaders. It does not matter who you are, politics, the average person, or an administrator on that campus. I'm Perry White, and I love Southern. And because of that, I like to be the voice of the people. So I get on this radio show, which is called the Jaguar Journal, every Saturday to make sure I can speak for the people. And right now, the people are obviously feeling some type of way. So I'm not feeling, this ain't just me. It's the people. I just so happen to be the voice. 225-499-1073. 225-499-1073. Let's get ready to take a break. We're going to the top of the hour. I'll come back on the side, talk about Southern Prairie View. All right?
Southern was a little late to the game of football. They had started earlier in the CIAA up at Hampton and those schools up there. And when J.S. Clark became president of Southern University in 1914, he had already visited Tuskegee and these Howard and the other schools, and they had a football program. And he wanted to compete with them, not just in the classroom, but also on the football field. So it started as an intramural. We had intramurals when we first came in 1914 through 1916-17, and then the intramural program evolved into the varsity, into the football program in 1918. Coach Big Charlie Holmes from Colorado State, he came here as an assistant coach, but he took over around 1922, 1923, and he did very well through the early 20s. But he came up to 26. He broke even. He was expected to do well, and 27. I don't find any records where he won any games there, and he was replaced. But the person he was replaced by was a legendary. Name is Bryce Union Taylor from the University of Southern California. Out there, he had been an All-American. He was the guy that stopped the four horsemen of Notre Dame, and then he went to Chaffin University in South Carolina at 27. In 1928, he became the head football coach at Southern University and athletic director, and he really put Southern on the map. He had a lot of firsts. First of all, he had the first All-Americans we had came under him. Therefore, he had the greatest winning percentage in Southern University. He won 85% of his game here, and he had our first undefeated season in 1931 when he was 7-0, and but he was not declared national champ, but he was considered for that. But he was our first great coach during that early period, Bryce Union Taylor. We don't want to forget him. Arnett W. Mumford, he's a national icon in coaching. He had coached 10 years in Texas, Jarvis Christians, Bishop, and Texas College. But the last 5 or 6 years at Texas College, he was very, very outstanding. He won 2 SWAC titles, and he had won a national black championship at Texas College and 35. So therefore, Southern was interested in getting him here, and Dr. Felton Clark was very instrumental, the person to get him here. But his impact it goes much further than Southern University in the state of Louisiana. He won 12 SWAC titles, 10 of them at Southern and 2 at Texas College. And he won 5 or 6 national black championships. And also, he was very successful in the first interracial bowl game, the Fruit Bowl in San Francisco.
All right, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there. Hope you guys are getting your Saturday morning started out right. Everybody listening here in the capital city area. Big matchup between LSU and UCLA in town, and the Southern Jaguars are on the road, headed over to Texas to Prairie View to take on the Panthers today. Both teams are in the direction trying to figure out the season right now. 1-2 for the Panthers, 1-2 for Southern University. Prairie View goes on the road to Natchitoches, Louisiana, and gets a hard-fought victory against Northwestern State of the Southland Conference. Southern, on the other end, get their only victory of the season at home 2 weeks ago against Savannah State. And as both these teams come together today, they're both trying to figure out a direction. You have Coach Clifton, Coach Bubba McDowell over at Prairie View, and then you have Coach Terrence Graves at Southern bringing their programs in. I keep saying Clifton McDowell, the quarterback. Bubba McDowell, wonder are they related? Bubba McDowell at Prairie View is looking to keep his team from going 0-2 today as they lost their first conference game of the season in their first game in week 1 against Texas Southern. On the other side, you look at Southern University trying to figure out, licking their wounds after going on the road last week to Jackson State and coming up on the losing side on ESPN. And now as we look forward to today's matchup, I got my man Kevin Baptiste, WFB sports reporter, to talk to us. And let's have a breakdown of last week's game looking at today's game. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, Perry. I see you still thinking about that McNeese game.
I can't, that McDowell name with Clifton, Bubba is all right there. And Clifton, I watched them last week as Alcorn is going to take on McNeese. I watched the end of that game leaving Jackson State. I still keep up with the other teams around the state. I watched McNeese come from behind and about 30 seconds left in the game at home against Stephen F. Austin and get the victory. You know who did it? The legs of Clifton McDowell. Ran for about 30 yards, quarterback keeper right up the gut into the end zone, threw the ball a Hail Mary into the stands, and then got ejected out of the game for having 2 unsportsmanlike penalties. So what a way to win a game and then get kicked out of a game. But that's why that name is mixing up with me with Bubba. But as we talk about Bubba McDowell, before we get to Prairie View, let's look back into last week's game, Kevin, with Jackson State. 33-15, Jackson State gets the victory. And let's look at the tail of the tape of this game, everybody. 19 first downs for Jackson State in this game as they went 7 of 15 on third downs. 399 total yards of offense. Of that 399, 198 yards passing for the Tigers, 201 rushing, 201 yards rushing, running back by committee, and I'll get back to that in a second. For the Jaguars, 18 first downs. They went 6 of 12 on third down. 416 total yards of offense, 387 yards passing, 29 yards rushing, 2 turnovers in that ball game by way of interception. Let's look at Noah Biden in this game. He did not start. Xavier T-Set started going 6 of 10 for 35 yards. T-Set got hurt in this ball game, and then Noah Biden comes in, your first week 1 starter, week 1 and 2, and he comes into this ball game finishing 17 of 29 for 352 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Kendrick Grimes, 8 carries, 18 yards. C.J. Russell, 3 carries, 9 yards. Kobe Dillon, 4 carries, 5 yards. And then on the receiving side, you had Darren Morris, 5 receptions, 86 yards. Chandler Whitfield, 6 receptions, 85 yards. Quay Davis, 4 receptions, 62 yards. Tyler Kirkwood, 1 reception, 54 yards. On the other side for the Tigers, Jacoby Morgan comes in once Cameron McCoy gets hurt, who finished his day 2 of 4 for 45 yards. Jacoby and Morgan finished this game 12 of 21, 153 yards passing, and a touchdown. And then, as I said, running back by committee for Jackson State. Irv Mulligan, 13 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. Ahmad Miller, 3 carries, 35 yards, and a touchdown. Travis Terrell Jr., 6 carries, 34 yards, and J.D. Martin, 12 carries for 33 yards. Batillion, on the receiving side, 3 receptions for 60 yards, and then Isaiah Spencer, 5 carries for 41 yards. Marvin Landy, 1 reception, 30 yards, and a touchdown. Kevin Baptiste looking at this game, dominating performance for Jackson State in a rivalry game of 2 teams that really don't like each other, but I think Jackson State showed they just didn't like Southern just that much more, as Southern could not find anything going, especially on the ground. And when you look at that offensive line, that has to be the biggest circle right now for everybody is saying, what the hell is Southern going to do to fix it?
I mean, yeah, Perry. I mean, you really set me up with the line. I mean, football. I mean, going back to the days of the leather helmets and no face masks, football has always been won in the trenches, and it's obvious that Southern just got whooped in the trenches last week. I mean, starting with that offensive line. I mean, that was my worries with Southern dating back to the end of last year, because they had O-line issues last year. Then through the summer, and we get some more guys back, you know, who dealt with injuries last year. I mean, the offensive line think they're going to be good, and they're not. It's just a point blank period. They're not good right now. I mean, with technique, communication, whatever, it's bad. I mean, look looking back at the film last week against Jackson State, I mean, on those sacks, it's like the Jackson State ends were getting to the quarterback with little effort. I mean, on the sack where JT said got hurt, I think it was Cam Foster. He was blocking the right end, and I mean, the right end he didn't even do no move, like no, not much of a rip chop, nothing. He just blew past Cam and just got to Zay, and he got wrapped up, and he out the rest of the game. But there was another sack later in the second quarter, same end. Forgot his name, but you had three guys. You had the left guard, the left tackle, and the tight end. They were all looking at this same end, and the end just blew by and sacked Noah.
They wouldn't be bodyguards in my establishment.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that. So, I mean, no, bro, it's bad, man. I mean, and then the run game is like, it's not like they're trying their hardest to have some type of identity running the football. I mean, they are trying to run instead of the pass, and that's what makes it worse, because as much as they're trying, they're not getting anywhere. 1.4 yards per carry last week.
I can't tell you, Kevin. Southern was known for running the ball, right? The fact that not having 30 yards from a running back room between Kobe Dillon and Kendrick Grimes did not occur. I mean, at this point, and Damon Nivens is the offensive line coach. The reality of the world is it has to be a hard conversation and look now with Coach Nivens to say, really, what the hell is going on? What are we doing? Are we developing these guys? What techniques are we teaching? And that's just the reality of the world when it comes with coaching. With coaching comes criticism. With criticism comes people spending their time and their money. I continuously say that. And when you have a product of looking at this offensive line, because if we go back to the past, I know we relish in the past, those Chennisberry offensive lines, we never had any issue. There never was a time where we had a conversation talking about Southern's offensive line. If anything, right, it was something else we talked about. We knew that O-line was going to be solid, but right now, this O-line in the film does not lie. They do not look good on film. It's one thing about the eye test, Kevin, but it's when you go back and start to slow it down and rewatch it and rewatch, you like, man, what the hell was really going on out there?
Right, especially for someone like me, because in my profession, I'm watching the whoever has the ball in each game, through the lens of my camera. But I mean, and it looks bad on the surface through there, but whenever I actually pull up like the actual TV view and the all 22, it's like, oh my God, they can't hit the block button on Facebook.
Can't hit the block button on Facebook. My God, that's a new one.
Yeah, it's like they got. I mean, at one point on the sack with Noah, there was Jermaine Minor Jr. and Cam. At one point, they were blocking each other. when the end came around, I'm like, this is a new one. This is a new one.
And because of that, Kevin, it got a quarterback hurt. You got Xavier T-Set hurt in this one.
His first start. His first start, it did not last long. So I mean, yeah, that's where it all begins, Perry. I mean, I know going back to before this season, I know like one of your big things was like no receiver has stepped up, but dude, you can't even mention receivers. So I mean, if you ain't got a quarterback, you ain't got protection, and everything else is important.
Yeah.
So yeah, that O-line. I mean, if Southern wants to get anywhere, they got to find something. And again, this goes back to to the offseason. I mean, Gray said the offensive line was good, and I mean, looking at the roster, they didn't do anything as far as like getting guys in the portal. Bringing in any new guys. It's really like mostly the same guys from last year. So
well, they brought in some guys in the portal that came in over the summer, and when I look back and you're talking about the spring, Coach Richardson and I sat in the stands and watched the spring game. And as we watched it, I saw where the O-line was bad, where they just abandoned the run altogether in the spring game. Was just, let's just work on the passing game. I mean, because it just didn't seem like the run was there. Anybody who was at the spring game, you go back and if you can go back and remember, I mean, the run game was bad then in terms of trying to get something going. And now it has trickled over into the season. And I'm in a state now that I just cannot believe Southern can't run the ball with the high expectations between Kobe Dillon and Kendrick Brown, because those two guys run hard. They do everything. But let me ask you this, in terms of the run scheme, would you like to see something different?
I would. I would. I mean, maybe try to get guys, more, off tackle. I mean, maybe more in space. I mean, if they try to run, up the middle between the 8 gaps, they're not getting anywhere.
And that seems to be
they're running straight into a wall.
That seems to be the ongoing thing with the run game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just over and over. I mean, they gotta try something, man. Because they don't. I mean, because it looks like. It looks like they're going back to Noah. Cause, I mean, at least with Zay, with Zay at quarterback, you had that guy who could tuck and run. I mean, Noah's not much of the athlete that Zay is, but but by the look of it, Zay is still injured. I mean, and Graves didn't give us much of an update in that Tuesday press conference. He said his X-rays were negative on his ankle, and he said it would be a miracle if Zay was practicing earlier in that week. So I mean, yeah. So you don't have much of that scramble at quarterback. So I mean, yeah, they got to try to get more in space with these running backs. I mean, maybe some tosses. In the rounds. I mean, with Whitfield, just something. But running in between those tackles is not pretty.
And I would say this. And look, people, here go the hard truth again. If Southern's offensive line goes out today and has that same performance that we have continued to see, Terrence Graves has to sit down with Coach Nivens. And, of course, with this bye week coming up, decisions have to be made saying, moving forward, what can we do as a staff, or what I'm going to do as a head coach. I just think those are the type of decisions you have to sit down and make when it comes to, look, my fan base is not happy. Everybody who sits and watch the game in the stands or on television, you ain't got to be a coach to know what you see. You simply have your eyes and you understand what's going on. And if that offensive line does not produce today, I think decisions have to be made. And those decisions help a fan base realize you're not afraid to make hard decisions to make this team get better, because this offensive line, the hard truth is, has gotten worse from last year to this year. Hey, Kevin, let's get ready to take a break. You stick with me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll be back. Stay tuned, guys. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Darius Skelton has really had this wave of momentum for Southern.
Yeah, first-year player in this program. I love his decision-making. He makes quick decisions, particularly when running the run-pass option game. That's his specialty. He's been an impact for this offense since he took over as starting quarterback.
Well, Darius Skelton is a dual-threat quarterback. He can throw the football. He's very good at throwing the ball down the field. We're going to work on this spring those intermediate passes, but down the field, he's one of the better down the field passes that I've seen.
Play action, Skelton going for it all, has a man, and hauling it in is Hunter Register.
And then when you talk about running ability, he has running back capabilities. He can go the distance. He has the speed to go the distance. He has the power, and he has the vision. And I think when you put that with a dual threat quarterback, I think he's the reason why we're so happy about this coming season.
Skelton feeling the pressure. Skelton eludes a couple of tacklers. He's still on his feet. Oh my! Little shake and bake juke booth, baby.
Being a quarterback, man, it's not easy at all. It was hard being here and having the expectations to be the starter and not being the starter. It was overwhelming. Like, I was ready to play, and not playing when I was ready to play just made me kind of look at life differently and really think, should I be here or should I not? And I talked to God, and he just settled me down, and he told me to be patient. That's what I did.
Skelton, who started the last 6 games of 2018 for the Jaguars. They went 5-1. Their only loss to Alcorn State in the SWAC title game. Taking the jet sweep, and Skelton awfully good with his leg. Blitz. Register, the receiver at the bottom of your screen. Nice grab. All who have had an impact here in the year lowing. Southern still. Skelton comes up for the 3rd time. Taking the jet sweep, he'll keep it. A good lead block as he cuts it to the outside. The fake to Ben. Skelton will run. And dragging with them for a few yards. There he is. The time stepping up into the end zone has registered. Flag down, catch made, touchdown. And it's actually first quarter yards. Southern 121, McNeese 40. Fresh set of downs as we begin the second quarter. And looking deep, Skelton for register.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on one. All right, we are back. Good morning to everybody. It is the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys tune in, everybody around the capital city area. Talk 107.3 FM. As I said before, big game this weekend here in the city. LSU taking on UCLA. A lot of listeners from on the other side of town in Tigerland listen to this show because they keep up with what's going on with Southern. So good morning to you guys, and good morning to everybody that's listening, or the Jaguar fans, the Jaguar Nation around the region tuning in. Good morning to all of our watchers and listeners right there on our YouTube channel. Hey, love to have you guys. I love the comment section. I love the interaction that you guys have with each other. And if you want to go back and rewatch this or listen to this, hey, if you headed over to Prairie View, this is something you can listen to today on your ride. Hit the Jaguar Journal on our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button and become a subscriber today. Don't need anything from you, just your love and support. And good morning to everybody watching on our Facebook page. Good to have you guys with us as well. My man Kevin Baptiste of WAFB on the sports side talking with me. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
As we continue to talk about things, let's move over to the defensive side of the football. Coach Henry Miller and the Southern University defense. Let me tell you something. Coming into this game, I thought that's where we were going to have to hang our hat. But after seeing Jackson State's offense, they come in early on, put a hurt to Cameron McCoy. He comes out, but then Jacoby and Morgan. And I think when you look at 1 and 2 with the quarterback room in Jackson State, there were no fall-offs. Their offensive line blocked well. It was running back by committee. Their receivers did everything they needed to find space, tight end as well, to get open, move the ball. And from the very first drive, Jackson State was able to move the ball down on this Southern's defense. Southern defense held them in the red zone. Jackson State had to kick a field goal. But on the very next drive, Jackson State marched it back down the field, and this time they found the end zone. And after that, Southern's defense hung in there, but they could not get stops on key third downs, and even having pressure on the quarterback, Jacoby and Morgan found a way to slip out. The running backs with one-on-one with the tackle, found ways to slip out of it, and receivers as well. It just seems like the fundamentals on defense just was not there. Jackson State found one way or another to get out of it and extend drives and ultimately find the end zone.
Yeah, Perry, it was the cast of M's last week. Mulligan, Martin, Miller, McCoy, Morgan, hell, just keep on. I mean, yeah, the 5 M's, whatever you want to call that backfield. Yeah, they punched Southern defense in the mouth last week. I mean, they really humbled Southern's defense, which is what Graves said again earlier this week. He felt like they got a little too high on themselves. Talking about the defense here, with the way they really shut down and contained McNeese and Savannah State. But but looking back at those two games, I mean, McNeese and Savannah State, I mean, their offenses were really bland. I mean, they really had no creativity. So, I mean, I would call that a bit of fool's gold, those two performances. And then when they finally played Jackson State, an offense with a plan and with a lot of athletes and guys who could do damage. Yeah, they got punched right in the face. I mean, early on, I think Jackson State's tempo, really got to them. It was really, 7 yards here, 4 yards here, 11 yards here, and they would just keep, going and going and going. And the defense is just shoving guys in and out, trying to get, calls from the sideline. And I think, that really got to them. And like you mentioned, man, the missed tackles. I mean, one-on-one with those guys in space. I mean, there was no one play where they went to, I think they do a screen to Martin on like a third down, and one missed tackle. It would have forced a punt, but nope, they turned into a 30-yard pitch catch. They set up a touchdown. So yeah, I mean, defense got brought down to reality But I mean, like it's early, so I mean, like, if Southern wants to get anywhere, those guys, they are really the backbone of this team by the looks of it. So yeah, they really got to get together.
Let's look at today's matchup against Prairie View, Southern University. Prairie View, as I said, Prairie View comes in 1-2, Southern 1-2. Somebody has to get the deuce today. And unfortunately, I'm sure Prairie View don't want it on the other end because, they don't want to start off 0-2 coming out of week 4 at the bottom of the SWAC West. For Southern, last week game against Jackson State, luckily for them, was non-conference. Although it was a loss, it does now count in the SWAC standings as Jackson State rotated off of Southern's schedule, but the two teams still want to play each other. Jackson came to Baton Rouge last year. Southern goes there. Both these teams, I believe, get back on each other's schedule next year as they rotate back on. But now moving forward, Prairie View's only victory on the season is going up to Natchitoches, Louisiana, and getting a victory against Southland opponent, Northwestern State. Last week, they went to East Lansing, Michigan to take on Michigan State, lost 40-0. Tough loss for them. And now they come in today. Their quarterback, Cameron Peters, has passed for 514 yards on the season, only 2 touchdowns passed and 3 interceptions. It's more interceptions than touchdowns passed. But they have a workhorse. They have a guy that is a absolute playmaker at wide receiver. That's Shamar Savage with 13 receptions, 264 yards, and a touchdown. He can be a problem for the Southern secondary if they can find success passing the ball today.
Yeah, Perry, I think the Southern secondary, they're going to get their biggest test yet this season. Because, we're watching the film on Prairie View. I mean, they like to air it out. I mean, they like to take their chances. And, why not when you got a guy like Shamar Savage? He did damage to Southern last year and didn't waste no time doing it. I remember, like, their first touchdown of the game was like a 60-yard bomb, and he just basically was just, hey, Shamar, effing Shamar down there. He really just ran right past the secondary on a deep post. So, it's really going to be real key for, Ronnie Johnson, Eric Reed Jr., Horatio Johnson, the rest of those guys to really, put the emphasis on him and I guess try to see if someone else can beat you. But, yeah, I do think that the secondary, they have their work cut out for them this evening.
Yeah, Prairie View started the season in the Labor Day Classic, losing 27-9 to Texas Southern, which I'm not going to lie, that caught my attention, Kevin. Texas Southern had been losing to Prairie View for about a decade and finally got it done with their first-year head coach, Coach Dishman. Chris Dishman got the victory on the road at Prairie View, and I think it was like, okay, who is Texas Southern, and what the hell happened to Prairie View, who had just won the SWAC West the year before?
Oh, yeah, that caught everybody by attention. Everybody. Like I said, I had to go back and actually watch that full game, man. Like, not only did they beat them, Prairie View didn't score a touchdown. Texas Southern had like 166 yards rushing. So, that caught everybody by surprise. And I thought Prairie View, they probably could win to that game. Like, oh, yeah, we haven't lost to them in a while. We got a first-year head coach. We at home. It's like, oh, but, it came back on them. So, I think, like you mentioned, these two teams' records, Prairie View cannot go down 0-2 in SWAC play in just 4 weeks. So I think, the main word that really sticks out to me for this game for both Prairie View and Southern is desperation. Because if Prairie View go down 0-2 in 4 games, then that might be a wrap. And Southern, if they lose, it would just be their first loss in SWAC play. But coming off the loss against Jackson, that's not what you want to have.
Yeah. And
then you go into the bye week on the 2-game losing streak, and you come out and you get Nichols at home. So, that's
you 1-3 possibly going into the bye week. It's going to be some hard conversations around their coaching staff. And let me ask you this, because when I look at this coaching staff, the idea was all of the experience of guys that surround this coaching staff that can come in and teach up and develop guys. As we look at it, Kevin, is it a combination of the lack of development or as well as the talent? What seems to be for you when you look at the experience of this coaching staff? Plenty of guys who were head coaches, coordinators, and then on the other side, a team that was supposed to have some talent. Is that a tricky one?
You got me there. I would say more so. maybe more so experience. I mean, in the coaching staff, because I mean, yeah, they have a lot of experience, but I mean, sometimes maybe the game might pass you by. I mean, everything that coaches run, all these schemes. I mean, there's not much, creativity, for one, in the offensive play calling for me. I mean, some coaches still try to run these old concepts. I mean, there's not much, motion and real creativity in today's modern day football. So I mean, that's one thing for me. I mean, obviously, the offensive line. I mean, that's both. That's talent and coaching. I mean, the defensive coaching staff, that's fine. But I mean, as far as the offense, I mean, I think it's a lot of these schemes have a lot to do with it. I mean, take the 3rd and 6 for once. The 3rd and 6 last week, running an option on 3rd and 6. I mean, that's just flat out coaching right there. I was not a fan of that play call.
Yeah.
At all. So I would say it's both, but I would say more so coaching.
What are your keys for Southern to get a victory today?
My keys, I would say, first off, okay, I'll start with the defense. They got to force some turnovers. They got to help this struggling offense out a little bit, because Southern, I want to say, I mean, they haven't forced many turnovers since the McNeese game. So I mean, if they can give their offense, a little bit of a short field to work with, I mean, get them close to field goal range so they can put up some points, that would help. As far as the run game, because both these teams have had problems running the ball, both Southern and Prairie View. So I feel like whoever can come out, really, get those, 5 yards a pop, 8 yards a pop, really control the clock. That's who's going to have the advantage in this one. And as far as we always go back to discipline. I will say last week that is one positive. Southern did not have too many flags.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a step in the right direction. So as far as the discipline, controlling the run game, and the defense forcing some turnovers, I think Southern can continue their streak in New Panther Stadium and continue the motto of Baton Rouge, Texas, Mumford West, as they call it.
I hope that happens, Kevin. I'm looking forward. I mean, that's the one glimmer of hope I have for today, just the success that Southern has had in that stadium. Southern has never lost in this stadium. So because of that, I hope the lure of that continues to continue to just fester and live, and the fire burns bright behind it. So that's my key to the game. The fact that it's Panther Stadium, we never lost there, that's all I need, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've only been to Prairie View once, and that was 2 years ago. The emotional game that was with Dooley coming back and the shenanigans that happened. I'll leave it at that. Not gonna get into that. But,
and Southern was in this position before. Dawson Odoms in 2018 had started off shaky to start the season. Fans were not happy. Had just lost to Alcorn at home. Southern went into a bye week. Southern goes on the road, in Prairie View and Southern both kind of in that position of where do we go from here. Southern then goes in that game and dominates Prairie View. Ladarius Skelton in his first start. Southern does not give up a touchdown that day. Prairie View's offense was one of the top in the nation in terms of FCS coming into that game. Many people remember DeWanye Tucker, the running back, who did all that crying and whining in that ball game. But listen, we have been here, and it seems like Prairie View is always that game where it's like, this is going to decide where we're going from here. And once again, history repeats itself. Southern's in that position again with Prairie View on the road in a similar situation of, is this it? Where do we go from here?
Yeah, it seems like Prairie View is always that confidence booster for Southern. I mean, yeah, well, if it seems like the sky is falling, I mean, Southern just plays Prairie View, give them a nice little whooping, and then, things go from there. But as we mentioned, I mean, things are different. Things are different. Those Dawson Odoms teams, they had their identity. They had the O-line. They had the run game. Southern, right now, as constructed, we just don't know, where is the light at the end of the tunnel right now as far as what they are putting out on the field. So, I mean, until they show me like a big time performance against a legit opponent, which could come today, then I mean, my hopes remain very low with Southern right now.
Yeah. And it's about winning the big game. You know, at Southern, the big games are FAMU, Jackson State. You get your homecoming victory, and you win the Bayou Classic. That reignites a fan base. And everybody else, if you can win those games, the Southern fans feel like the rest of the games are winnable when you look around the conference and the success Southern has had against those opponents. Kevin, before I let you go, tell the people where they can find you.
At K Baptiste Jr. on Twitter/X. I give my game updates, breakdowns sometimes, also on Instagram. And also on WAFB, I give highlights and post-game analysis on our late sportscast and on our show, 9 Sports Extra. And plus, I will be on the road to PV eventually. So if you're out there and you see me, don't be afraid to say hello.
I won't be afraid to say hello, Kevin. I'll speak. Thank you, Kevin, for coming on. It's my man, Kevin Baptiste, WAFB sports reporter, talking to us about the Southern Jackson State game last week, Southern Prairie View this week. Let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, I'll take you around the SWAC and have some more conversation. If you want to call in, 225-499-1073. Call in. Let me hear your voice. Say something to me. I'm your therapist today. If you're feeling some type of way, Jaguar Nation, you can let me hear what you have to say, and I'll talk you through it. Let's take a break. We'll be back more to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
For the first time in the 79-year history of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Elite Championship game determines the overall champion today. Live from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, it's the champions of the East, Jackson State, taking on Southern, the champs from the West. Hello, everybody. George Johnson along with Charles Mann. And I got to tell you, a great poet once said this is the way it's supposed to be. And it is. Number 11 Southern taking on number 15 Jackson State. Both programs have won 3 SWAC titles over the decade. So it's only fitting in the first SWAC championship game we determine the program of the decade. We've got a lot of offense out on the field. And yet this guy right here, he's going to tell you this game's all about D.
It's always all about D, George. You know that. Always all about D.
An all-pro defensive end is going to tell you that. When you think about Jackson State, this is a team that is very potent offensively, but defensively they've led the SWAC throughout most of the year, and they've got the best player in defense in the SWAC, and that's Tommy Head.
Tommy Head. Get used to saying that name. You'll say it all day. He'll be all over the field. He's always around the football. He's the leading tackler on this team. He also has 5.5 sacks.
At one point this year, Southern led the nation in scoring defense. Then they ran into Florida A&M. They've got a lot of guys out there that can get it done, but at the top of the list is DeMarcus Miller.
DeMarcus Miller, the linebacker coach, Terrence Graves, told me there's one word to describe this kid, and that is relentless. He's only 5'10", 285 pounds. He makes a lot of plays, though.
Relentless, appropriate word for our third member of the broadcast team, and that's Joe Clare, who's standing by down on the sideline. Joe?
Yes, indeed. I'm down here on the field capturing all the pageantry and revelry that is black college football. Birmingham, Alabama is a lovely city. This is the inaugural SWAC championship in their city, so they came out to have a good time. I will be covering the bands, the cheerleaders, shout-outs, all of that kind of stuff. Back to you guys up top.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. You know, earlier this year, Southern beat Jackson State, their 4th straight win over the Tigers. But what's most impressive about Southern, they haven't lost a conference game in 25 outings. They put it on the line against Jackson State. We look at the starting lineups brought to you by Western Union Money Transfer, the fastest way to send money worldwide. You saw the backs. Here's your offensive line. Damon Nivens is a first-team All-SWAC member. Defensively, there's your starting lineups for Jackson State's defense. Chandler, Tommy Head, Edward Reese, pretty good middle linebacker. Rashard Anderson is a professional prospect, and they say he will be in the NFL next year. It is your starting lineup, brought to you by Western Union. Mark Washington is your quarterback, Destry Wright, the all-time leading rusher in school history, is the tailback. Jeremiah Todd is an
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Good morning to everybody listening on Talk 107.3 FM. Big weekend in Baton Rouge, LSU versus UCLA. Big weekend over in Texas, Prairie View versus Southern. And Prairie View as the Jaguars head on the road, taking on the Prairie View Panthers today. Let's go straight to the phone line. We got a call. Is it Terry? Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Perry. How you doing,
I'm doing good, Terry. How about yourself?
All right. Look, man, I want to kind of just discuss, you say you getting the side eyes and stuff like that, man. But let me say this, man, continue to do what you do, man. We need somebody in there to hold people accountable, man. And it's okay to do what you're doing, because any individual who spend their money and spend their time and don't see the product that they expect, you have a right to express yourself concerning where you spend your money and your time.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, I want to say that if you show up to a game, you expect a certain product.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't see that product, we as a fan base that spend our money have every right in the world to express ourselves on what we expect to see. Now, will we get it all the time? We may not, but we do have a right to dissent. We do. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm spending my money, which I love to do, and I, you know what I'm saying? You know where I'm coming from? So if I love to do it and love to be there, I expect to see a product that's worthy of my money and my time.
Mm-hmm.
So now watch this. If they come to me and they expect the product, they're going to say, hey, man, you ain't producing. So they're going to come to me and they're going to expect to get their product out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you also critique what you love. If you don't love it, you don't care what happens to it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you love it, you're going to say, hey, man, I expect better from you. Your parents growing up, and I'm going to get off here and listen to you after this. When you grew up, your parents corrected you. Why? Because they loved you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that does not correct you or do not have better expectations of you don't care about you.
That's it.
If they don't try to correct you and get you to do things the way you're supposed to do it, if they do not do that in your life, they do not care nothing about you. So we as a Jaguar Nation and as a fan base care about our Jaguars. We love them. Just because we express ourselves on the product that we see does not mean we do not love our Jaguars. We do.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the whole purpose of us saying the things that we say. It's not that we're being derogatory. It's just we have a better expectation of what we're seeing. And that's the only thing that you're saying and we are saying. And let me say this, because I watch you and Scott all the time. And it's a hard thing to see Mike Reed on a Wednesday.
Oh, man, that Jackson. Hey, look, they've been getting on me all week. I mean, and I tell people that comes with the territory. You know, when it is a rivalry week and you talk noise, there's a reason Southern and Jackson are the way that we are with each other. But when you're on the bad end of it, hey, I don't duck the smoke or run from it. I get right there in front of everybody, and I have to take it the same way on social media. They still ain't let me go on social media. But you know what? That just comes with it.
That's that, you know. And so we love our Jaguar, but we expect a certain product. And I've been going there, man, since I've been a kid. My family, all of us went to Southern University. My mother's a Southern University Jaguar graduate. So, I mean, I've been going since I was a kid in the 80s. I'm going to tell my age in a minute. But but I've been going there since a little kid on the yard. I expect Southern to have their standard. And so we love our Jaguars. So you continue to do what you do, man. The side eye is going to come, because if you're misunderstood in what you're doing, that happens. But they need to understand anybody have a right to dissent when the product on the field is not reflecting what it should, and you spending your money and your time. But you continue to do what you do, Perry, and I'm going to continue to support, man.
Man, thank you, Terry, for calling in, man. I appreciate you. All right, everybody, listen. And, you know, and I'm not saying nobody has to be perfect. Nobody is perfect. Not at all. Nobody, I don't expect to just say undefeated, we never going to lose the game. But when you do lose the game, you look at how you lost, right? It's like the same thing in school. When you don't pass the test, you look at was it barely, or did you just flat out just flunk this test? Because then the way I was taught study habits, all right, let's go back and then let's look at what you put in your time too. Let's go back and look at how much time are you putting into studying. Let's look at the questions that was missed. So now let's figure out what areas should we focus on. Because you seem to have gotten all of these questions right on the test that pertain to certain thing, but this other area, for some reason, it seemed to have gotten by you. So did you not put enough time into that? Do you need to put more study effort into that? That's what comes with wins and losses as when we look at it as a fan base. How did you do it? Then when you do fail that test, how do you come back for the next test? Because if you continue to fail test after test, now I got to look at you and say, you know what the hell are you doing? Because it don't look like you trying to study. It look like you just going in there doing anything. Are you studying? Are you reading? Are you taking notes? This is how I'm making it simple, because the very thing is Southern University and education. You go to school to get an education. To get an education ain't just going into a class. It is studying. It is prepping. It is to pass that class. The ultimate goal is to get that degree. So then you can say, I'm an alum of Southern University, and you can take what you learned as an alum of Southern University and that education and then go get you a job to support you and your family in the future. And there are steps in order to accomplish that success. So when we look on the football field or athletics, I'm just looking, what steps are we taking as an athletic department to find success? And if we fail a test, do we just ignore it and you don't want anybody to say you failed the test? Or do we really take a step back and evaluate what happened in that test? Why? How? What they say, the who, what, and when. What you laughing at, Mike? That was funny to you? Well, I end it right there. Let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side aboard the Jaguar Journal.
Watching the Southern University Human Jukebox. Click here to watch more videos, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal. right, good morning, everybody. It is the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. Good to have you guys with us. Good to have you, everybody, listening around the capital city area on Talk 107.3. Good to have you guys. Big game in town this week, LSU versus UCLA. So as I always say, you'll be surprised at how many people listen to this show that it's not even Southern alums or fans of Southern, but they tune in because of the station that we on and they listen. And this is where they get their information to keep up with the Southern University Jaguars, because people in Baton Rouge do support and love Southern University, all right? So we're good to have you guys tuning in on 107.3 FM this morning. Good morning to everybody on our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Good to have you guys watching. Share it, everybody, at your tailgate. This is something for the tailgate if you want to listen to something on your ride to Prairie View, Texas, or wherever you at this morning. Good to have you guys. Hit the subscribe button. Don't need nothing from you but your support and your love. And everybody on our Facebook, good morning to you guys watching on Facebook Live. This gives you an opportunity. We have callers from Dallas, Tampa, and all over today. So that shows you the reach of this show. It's not just here in Baton Rouge, but people listen to the show all across the country right here in Baton Rouge. And they checking out Perry White and my man Mike as we continue to keep things going. And before we get ready to end the show today, let me take you around the SWAC last week. Week 3 matchups. And give you some scores. Michigan State took on Prairie View. Michigan State won 40-0. Alcorn State getting its first victory on the season, beating Edward Waters 38-7. Bethune-Cookman went up to Michigan to take on Western Michigan, losing 59-31. Mississippi Valley State, 4 games to start the season on the road. One of those against Murray State last week, losing 59-8. Sanford and Alabama State in a tough one. How about Alabama State? All the way down to their 4th-string quarterback so far. Defense stood tall, but was not enough offense. They lost to Sanford 12-7. Up in Memphis, Tennessee, the Southern Heritage Classic last week, Tennessee State taking on UAPB. Tennessee State gets the victory 48-28. Grambling going on the road to take on Texas A&M Commerce. In overtime, hell of a game. The Tigers win 35-28. And then Alabama A&M in a hard-fought game against NAIA Georgetown 24-16. Let's look around the SWAC this week. Week 4 matchups. Of course, we talked the Southern Prairie View game. That game will be kicking off today, 6 p.m. ESPN Plus for those who want to watch the game and you're not able to make it over to Prairie View. How about this one? Clark Atlanta goes on the road to Daytona Beach to take on Bethune-Cookman. The Clark Atlanta is 2-1 going into this ball game against Bethune-Cookman, who is 0-3. This could be a possible upset alert right here, looking at Division II Clark Atlanta going against Bethune-Cookman. Let's see if Bethune-Cookman can hold it down. How about Mississippi Valley on the road today? They're down in Thibodaux, Louisiana, taking on Nichols. Both teams coming to this game 0-3. But for those Tiger fans I told you that's listening, they know this Nichols team, although you see that 0-3, is not a bad team at all. Nichols had Death Valley almost on life support, 23-21 at one point in that game before the Tigers were able to pull it off. But both those teams 0-3. Nichols, I think, gets on track today. Mississippi Valley in Louisiana down in Thibodaux. UCA, the University of Central Arkansas, going over to Pine Bluff. These are the only 2 FCS programs within the state of Arkansas. UCA is a FCS top 25 program. They have been in conversations preseason as a potential team that can make a run for an FCS national championship. They had a game taken away from them this year. And after that game, the Sun Belt officials against Arkansas State came back and said, hey, they overturned a call or it was a bad call. But they had an opportunity, if it wasn't for that bad call, to beat FBS Arkansas State of the Sun Belt. So UCA is not a bad team. UAPB, watch out. You may get ran out of Golden Lion Stadium today against the Bears of UCA, the only 2 programs of FCS stature in the state of Arkansas. How about Alabama A&M going on the road to Austin Peay? This could be the beginning of the seat heating up for Connell Maynard if he does not go in and beat this 0-3 Austin Peay team. The Bulldogs of Alabama A&M come in at 2-1 today. Florida A&M taking on Troy. Both these teams know each other well from their days before it was FCS Division I AA. Both these teams went back and forth in those years of the Division I AA playoffs. The past 2 games, Troy has won, but when you go back, the last time Florida A&M won was in 1999 in the FCS playoffs or the Division I AA playoffs. These 2 programs know each other well. Troy now of the Sun Belt. Good luck to the Rattlers as they go over there. Texas Southern traveling over to Lamar. Lamar last week got a top 25 victory over Weber State. Big victory for that program. Texas Southern is looking to get on track since that first victory against Prairie View. They lost to Rice And now they're looking, this should be a good matchup. This is one I will watch between Lamar and Texas Southern. I think this will let us know really where is Texas Southern as a program after that win with Chris Dishman in his first year going over to Prairie View and getting a victory. Alcorn State, the Braves is my man G, the BBB, the Big Bad Braves going over to Lake Charles, Louisiana today, taking on McNeese State and Clifton McDowell as quarterback. As I said earlier in the show, they got a victory at home last week. The Cowboys of McNeese State taking on Stephen F. Austin, 33 seconds left in the game. Stephen F. Austin gives up a big play to quarterback Clifton McDowell as he runs up the gut on the QB keeper all the way into the end zone. McNeese is not the same McNeese of last year. They're 2-2 on the season. This is going to be a good game for McNeese and Alcorn. Alcorn is the only SWAC school to defeat McNeese. Let's see if they can keep that going. It's going to be tough going over to McNeese to try to get that victory. And then the big game that I think is the game of the week is going to be Jackson State and Grambling. Jackson State comes into the hole up there in Grambling, Louisiana. This is one that's potential sellout. Travian Scott, the athletic director up there, said, look, this is going to be everything is written on the wall to say this is going to be a sellout. Two programs of names, of tradition that sell itself, headed in the right direction. Grambling on the road last week, getting that victory over Texas A&M Commerce, and then Jackson State, of course, beating Southern, and then coming off that Lane victory, 58-7. So 2-game winning streak for Jackson. Both these teams 2-1. This game right here is going to give you that old school SWAC feel. One of those when you pull up in town, probably this morning, you can sense it in the air. You know it's game day. You know it's going to be a hell of a game, and fans are going to start coming into Grambling, Louisiana, and trickling in all day as this thing is going to possibly be a sellout. And people, you're going to see the grills and everything else as traffic starts to back up there on exit 81. And it should be a good game between Grambling State and Jackson State. Can go either way. Coach Mickey Joseph and Grambling seem to be headed in the right direction, along with Jackson State on the other side. And then Southern versus Prairie View today, 6 p.m. ESPN Plus. The Jaguars versus the Panthers. Southern has not lost since they have started playing Prairie View in Panther Stadium, the newly built Panther Stadium. I say newly built. It's been around for a while, enough for Southern fans to brag about having not lost there. And so everybody out there listening, I hope you guys have safe travels today. I'll be headed over to Texas as soon as I get off the show today. Everybody that is, shout out to my boy Vark. My boy Vark, happy birthday to you, Vark. Man, Vark always show love, so I got to give a happy birthday shout out to my boy Vark. I don't know if he's over there tailgating or what. I don't know what's going to happen today, to be honest with you, everybody. I'm just going to be there watching and looking. I hope the Houston Jags show up, as that's one of Southern's largest alumni fan bases. The band will be in the house today against the Prairie View Marching Storm, so you'll be able to have that element of what makes HBCU football games so special. You know, halftime is game time, as they say, and so is the 0 and the 5th quarter. As Avis say, I am the band guy along with a little bit of football. He will not let me live that down, so I'll throw that in just for him this morning. So I hope everybody has safe travels. I hope you enjoy your games today. And everybody, you know what? I'll be back next week at the same time in the same place, as always. It's the Jaguar Journal. Have a good weekend, everybody. See you next week.
Looking for a unique and
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.